Bethesda is a massive company. Well, I guess it's more accurate to say ZeniMax Media or I guess Microsoft are massive companies. If you're not sure how Bethesda is run, essentially Microsoft owns ZeniMax Media, which owns Bethesda Softworks, Bethesda Game Studios, ID Software, and ZeniMax Game Studios, the latter of which developed the game The Elder Scrolls Online. Now, I've talked about The Elder Scrolls Online before on this channel. I've made a few videos. It's been quite interesting to talk about this particular series, but recently The Elder Scrolls Online celebrated its 10-year anniversary, and as part of the celebrations there have been many in-game and real-world events, but one event in particular has caught my attention, as it was revealed just how massive The Elder Scrolls Online is for the ZeniMax Bethesda umbrella. So what is this piece of information? Well, supposedly since launch, ESO has generated almost $2 billion in revenue, which is something that I still can't quite believe. I mean, it was in an official presentation, but I still can't believe it. And if this is true, obviously it is massive, as that would mean that on average, the game has been generating around $200 million a year in revenue since its launch. Reddit users have had a really interesting breakdown of these figures, and one user estimated that if you subtract, say, $20 to $50 million for all yearly costs, so that's like server costs, the development of expansions, DLCs, items for the shop, support, just as I said, general maintenance, you could maybe subtract, let's say, $20 to $50 million a year, which is quite a big estimate in my opinion, but you have to pay everyone's salaries. So if you take that away, regardless, you're still left with around $150 million in profit, which is pretty staggering. I mean, I guess you could take into account bonuses for certain staff and that sort of thing, but it's a lot of money, right? Definitely more money than I imagine all the other Elder Scrolls games are making on a yearly, apart from Skyrim with its many re-releases, but I doubt it's making anywhere close to that. And there's obviously a lot of reasons for this. Of course, the shop in the Elder Scrolls Online, there have been a lot of arguments around if it's a bit predatory. I think most MMOs are like that, but you can play the game without accessing the shop. That's a completely different issue, but the shop is a big reason, the expansions, the DLC, just general subscription fees, that sort of thing, if you want to take advantage of that, the actual game price. There is a lot of things that kind of contribute to this massive amount of money that the game is generating, but I think something that I considered when I first saw this piece of news is not just how massive this is for the company as a whole, which is, I did not realize how big this game actually is for the ZeniMax Bethesda umbrella, because you normally think of the kind of mainline Elder Scrolls, mainline Fallout series, I suppose recently Starfield kind of. You don't think of the Elder Scrolls Online, it seems like it's a little bit in the background, but I think secretly it's actually one of the biggest earners of the entire company, if not the biggest earner. And it made me realize, I mean, what's one thing every Elder Scrolls fan has been asking for years? It's, where is the Elder Scrolls 6? We've been waiting almost 13 years now. The gap between Skyrim and Oblivion was like 5 years, something like that. Yeah, I think Oblivion was 2006, Skyrim was 2011, Elder Scrolls 6, who knows? So that gap is massive. And it would make sense why this gap is so massive. This is something people have been speculating for so many years, that the Elder Scrolls Online simply makes too much money for Bethesda to want to put more money into a game that could actually detract from that. They may make a lot of short-term profit with the Elder Scrolls 6, but it's this continuous source of revenue that they're going to be wanting. And the Elder Scrolls Online is a really good way to get that. But obviously they've announced the Elder Scrolls 6. It was, I think around 6 years ago or something now. It was a long time ago they announced it, and there's more and more little bits of news coming through, but I think a big reason why the Elder Scrolls 6 is now getting pushed a little bit more is because the revenue for the Elder Scrolls Online has been steadily going down, at least from what we can see if you look at some statistics of it. So the fact that that game is starting to make slightly less money, I think, has kind of pushed Bethesda into action that they should be working towards the next mainline game, as that's what people are generally waiting for. I know the Elder Scrolls Online is a massive community, I'm part of that community, I play the game, but I think most of us do also want to play the next mainline Elder Scrolls game. That's kind of the bread and butter of the entire franchise. That's the thing that people play the Elder Scrolls for, generally. And to be honest, in my opinion, I don't see the Elder Scrolls 6 taking away from Bethesda's profits. I think if they make the Elder Scrolls 6, it's a great game, people will play it, they'll love it. If they keep the MMO going, people will still play that. I imagine there's going to be so many tie-ins when the game comes out. At least there's going to be some in-game events, there's going to be stuff you can earn. I think it will probably work in tandem with the current Elder Scrolls Online community. I think the thing about MMOs is if they're even remotely popular, they are incredibly long-lasting. There's MMOs that I remember hearing about for years that I'm surprised are still going, but they are. For example, Guild Wars 2. I didn't realise there was such a massive community for it. Final Fantasy 15, World of Warcraft, RuneScape Online, or old school RuneScape. There's these MMOs that I don't think most people would have expected would be continuing for so long, maybe except for World of Warcraft, but they are still going strong despite other games being released under that IP. So when I saw this news, it made me think that it does give a lot of fire to that argument that The Elder Scrolls Online is holding up development of The Elder Scrolls 6, and it's not because it's made by the same studio. As I said, The Elder Scrolls Online is developed by ZeniMax Game Studios, which is different from Bethesda Game Studios, but I can actually understand the argument that it has been holding it up, because you could imagine that they don't want to detract from this massive audience they've already built up. I mean, it's the same now people consider with Fallout 76, right? And maybe Fallout 5 or something like that. I don't think it will detract from it. I think if a game's good, people will continue to play it. I know the Elder Scrolls Online has its own entirely unique engine, which I'm sure also has a lot of cost for the company. It's a completely different game, basically. It's just set in the universe, and I think it's something you can enjoy as a kind of supplement for the main series, or you can use the main series as a supplement, I suppose, and have that as your main game if you love the world that much. I think that the Elder Scrolls Online and the Elder Scrolls main series generally caters to a shared but quite different audience. I know so many people that love the Elder Scrolls games, but they just will not play the Elder Scrolls Online because it's just not for them. They want a single player experience, they want to play the game that they know, they want to play a game like Skyrim, they want to have mods, they want to make their own world, their own characters, they want to be able to go into the console, edit stuff. You can't do that in an online game because obviously it just wouldn't work. They don't like the fact there's paid stuff. I mean, Bethesda has been doing a lot of things recently with Starfield and paid mods, which is, in my opinion, quite scary for the Elder Scrolls 6. I'm not against modders getting money for their work. I think that, it's great that they can make something and then they can get paid for it. But at the same time, I think that it does sort of discourage people from wanting to make it just for the love of it, which I know how difficult it can be when you feel like you've got to make something for the sake of money as opposed to just for your own enjoyment, which is what a lot of modders do. They don't necessarily want money, they just want to make it for their own enjoyment. But if it starts to become a thing that it is kind of a business model as opposed to a sort of community-based thing, then it is difficult for people. My best memories on Skyrim are playing mods. By far, my best memories on Skyrim. I have over 1,000 hours in the game, probably even more. I'm not sure how many, because I used to play it on Xbox 360, then I played it on PC for years. I never played it on my Xbox One because I was on PC by that time, but I have so many mods for Skyrim, and even if I play it any time now, I think, right, I want this mod, this mod, this mod. I remember the names, I remember the mods, it's in my memory. I think a lot of people have the same experience, and the amazing work these modders do is, I think it is very appreciated by fans. And I remember a long time ago, Bethesda tried to do the thing where they introduced paid mods, and then a lot of people took their mods off. They said, nope, you're not using it, we don't want you to be part of this. I think that it's such a big issue, and I know this is a bit of a separate issue to what this video is talking about, but it's all linked in with this idea that it's very much about money. I mean, if you look at the development of Skyrim, you look at the development of Oblivion, it seems like these games, obviously there was money in mind, and money was a big factor in it, but a lot of the developers are just left to do things they enjoy, and it does make me a little bit concerned about the future of the Elder Scrolls 6's development. And I know a lot of people are concerned about the fact they're sticking with the creative engine, or the creation engine. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty interesting piece of information. I can't believe it's made almost $2 billion in profit. That is an insane amount for an MMO that I didn't realize was as popular as it apparently is. And I think it's something to consider. I want to make some more videos about the Elder Scrolls. If you have anything you'd like to see, please let me know. I'm going to try and keep up to date with anything to do with the Elder Scrolls 6 or anything with the Elder Scrolls Online. And thank you guys for watching. Please check out my playthrough channel if you want to see me play some games. Check out my Witcher channel, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know about anyway, where I talk about The Witcher, another really great fantasy game series. And I really do appreciate it, guys. Like the video. If you subscribe, it boosts it up in the algorithm and everything, and that's very helpful. Do appreciate the support, everyone. Let's keep talking about these games, and let's just be positive and hope that it's going to go in a really good direction. I'm excited to see what's coming, and I love these series, and I'm sure you guys do as well. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.